What's up? I am Michelle B. This is day 21 of the 30-day Simplify Your Life Challenge. If you don't know what the 30-day Simplify Your Life Challenge is, I will leave a link in the description below for you to find out a little bit more information about it. And today, we are identifying your negative beliefs. This is going to be like a heavy day, I feel. So firstly, I want to talk about what negative beliefs actually are. Basically, negative beliefs are the weird beliefs that you have running like in your mind all of the time that indicate that you are limited in some way. For example, a negative belief that you might have is like, you suck at job interviews. May not be like ever present, always in your mind, but it's like whenever you go to apply for a job, you're like, I don't think I'm gonna do that because I suck at job interviews, like I'm not gonna get it. They rarely really come up, but you blindly just believe them to be true when the situation arises that's relevant. And for the most part, whether a belief is true or not, if you believe it to be true, it will become true. So today we're trying to tackle pulling all of these negative beliefs out of our brains. Not eradicating them, but just becoming aware of their existence. Because a lot of the time we're super oblivious to the fact that they're even there. They just run our minds like 24/7, but we don't really even acknowledge that they exist and that they're holding us back. So the first step is to actually find out what your limiting beliefs are. Identifying your negative beliefs is really just about being self-aware. For example, every day you walk into a job that you hate, you feel like crap, you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you can't get out. What is a limiting belief that's helped you to get into that situation? Could be a super simple limiting belief like I suck at interviews. It could be like a big massive overarching belief like I am incompetent. Think of times or areas in your life where things were bad, things were crappy, you weren't happy. That wasn't meant to rhyme. Write down any of the limiting beliefs that helped to make them that way. The next step is to determine why your limiting beliefs exist. So I'm going to give you a few questions to help sort of prompt you. Is there a particular thing, event, circumstance that happened that made you feel this way? Was there a really emotional experience that contributed to this belief? Have you made up some sort of story in your head that has led to the creation of this belief? And what assumptions have you made about situations that led you to this belief? Sometimes your negative beliefs do have a basis, like you think that you suck at interviews because you've done like a total of 2 interviews in the past and you just didn't do well at them. So the next step is to determine what your lizard brain is gaining from your negative beliefs. If your negative belief is I suck at interviews, don't fool yourself because your lizard brain is 100% gaining something from that negative belief. That dumb belief is making sure that you never have to get out of your comfort zone again for your whole entire life. It's putting you in a place where you're never going to apply for another job, never put yourself in that uncomfortable situation of an interview, and of starting a new job, meeting new people. And it's forcing you to be stuck in a job that, yes, while you hate it, is comfortable and is normal. Another example, the belief that you suck at public speaking lets your lizard brain stay super comfortable by ensuring that you never go ahead and create the YouTube channel that you wanted to make. It ensures that you never have to talk in front of a group of people or make a speech in front of a group of people. Usually what your lizard brain is gaining from your negative beliefs is comfort. It's usually just a comfort, like consistency kind of thing. Your lizard brain usually just doesn't want to do anything out of the ordinary, anything different, anything that will get you out of your comfort zone. So write down what your lizard brain is gaining from the negative beliefs that you have. Next up, poke holes in your negative beliefs. Let's acknowledge that these beliefs have festered for years. Doing this activity is not going to eradicate them, but this is just taking the first step, identifying that they exist and taking some steps towards getting rid of them. So look at the negative beliefs that you've written down and ask yourself, if I told this to someone who knows me really well and believes in me, what would they say? If I worked on improving this aspect of myself, could I eradicate this limiting belief? When have I done something that has gone totally against the premise of this limiting belief? Think of really specific events that have occurred, like times, places, names, exactly what you've done, and write them down. You really are just trying to like prove those negative, dumb beliefs wrong and try and create as much evidence as you can that goes against those limiting beliefs. All of the negative beliefs that you have arisen because of evidence. Whether that evidence is like really dumb, stupid evidence that you've made up in your brain, it's all evidence to your brain. It's what your lizard brain uses to confirm your negative beliefs. So maybe the belief that you suck at job interviews is supported by time that you totally froze up at when you interviewed for that job, and the time that you did an interview and you managed to answer all of the questions but you still just did not get the job. Think of the reasons that those things might have occurred that don't actually have any relationship with the belief I suck at job interviews. So maybe you froze up because you didn't actually prepare for the job interview at all, not because you suck at job interviews. Maybe you froze up because you got 2 hours of sleep the night before because you were so anxious and you were hyped up on 3 cups of coffee, not because you suck at job interviews. Maybe you didn't get the job because you were running 15 minutes late to the interview, not because you suck at job interviews. Maybe you didn't get the job because they had an internal candidate lined up already, not because you suck at job interviews. You get what I'm saying? Like, you just need to take a fresh look at the evidence that exists to support whatever your negative beliefs are, and you need to figure out why that evidence may not necessarily be correct. Because a lot of the time, negative beliefs are based on false assumptions that you've made in situations. So the last step is to brainstorm new evidence to support the opposite of your negative belief. Turn the belief, I suck at job interviews, into I am like a freaking pro when it comes to job interviews. Like, I don't know how I do it, I'm just really good. And think of some evidence to support that new belief. I think the trick here is to make it like solid, actual, real life evidence. Writing down vague evidence like, well, I'm good at talking to people, so I'm good at job interviews, is a little non-specific. So turn that into like, my supervisor went up to me directly and told me that I have a great nature when it comes to talking to new people after he sat in a meeting with me. Some evidence that you could write down is when you reached out to the interviewer for feedback, they told you that you were the second highest candidate and that you did a great job at the interview. At the practice interview that you have with your colleague, she said that your answers were direct and informative and addressed the key components of the questions. And another piece of evidence could be like, you obtained your current job through a job interview and you obviously came out on top. If you're struggling to think of current evidence, that's okay. Think of ways that you can create new empowering evidence in your life to support the opposite of your negative belief. This is a big, massive, long day. Finish it up by celebrating yourself, having a cup of tea, maybe a coffee, or maybe not, depending on what time of day it is. Obviously, you can't just like eliminate your negative beliefs like that. Like, it's just not that easy. These are things that are ingrained into you and they've been like building and festering throughout your whole life. I know that I have negative beliefs that sit in the back of my mind constantly, and it's really freaking hard to get rid of them, but acknowledging that they are just dumb negative beliefs that are providing no value, are helping you literally zilch, is the first step to sort of fighting against them. Ugh, they make me so angry. Like, negative beliefs are so dumb. Why do they exist? Why can't you just like tell them to go away? Why don't we have full control over our minds and what we think? I promise that it'll be a little bit lighter tomorrow. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.